welcome to a World of Warships Blitz video. Today's video is a review video of the Tier 10, the new Tier 10 Premium Russian or Soviet cruiser, the Smolensk. So the Smolensk has arrived in World of Warships Blitz. So what does this mean? So we do have a gameplay coming after this. It's not a particularly exciting gameplay, but it's a gameplay I think that demonstrates one capacity of the ship. So what we'll do is we'll do a quick stats review against the other cruisers to basically see where it fits. So I've had points 27,225, doesn't seem like a lot. Floating and fire resistance is good, but the rest of them look pretty destroyer-like. If we go for the Minotaur, which is known to be the smallest cruiser, okay then, well there you go, 8,000 less hit points. It has better flooding and fire resistance, but basically it's poor across all the rest of the attributes. So the citadel protection is 2.5 points less. The damage reduction is 1.5 points less, and the torpedo damage reduction is 3 points less than the Minotaur. The Worcester is even, well, it's got massive flooding and fire resistance. And it's better across all categories. In fact, it's 12,000 better hit points than the Smolensk. So if we go for something like the Stalingrad, okay, the Smolensk is certainly at the destroyer end of the cruiser spectrum. So I haven't brought in the Hindenburg or the Zau because I didn't think it would be a close match. But as it turns out, it's not really a close match with anything. So the Smolensk, from a survivability perspective, is really light. Maneuverability 35 knots, 34.5 knots, time to full speed 14 seconds. That's fairly ordinary, I would say. Maximum traverse speed at 7.9 degrees per second is pretty good, with a turn time of 7 seconds. Let's go have a look at the Minotaur. Okay then, so the Minotaur does 32 knots, 3 knots slower, about half the time to full speed, or slightly more, but then again it's got that equipment module for acceleration. Maximum traverse speed of the Minotaur is 8.53, so it is more agile than the Smolensk, and it has a better turn time. American light cruisers aren't, well, they're not agile, but they're not unagile, and it's got around about, it's even got better traverse speed than the Smolensk. It's got a better turn time, about the same time to full speed, and 3 knots slower. So the Smolensk is carrying on the Russian tradition of being, well, fast but not particularly maneuverable. Also not particularly strong. Obviously, it's got a much better time to full speed and a much better traverse speed than something like the Stalingrad. Yeah, so okay then, so its maneuverability isn't great. Now let's have a look at the guns, because the Smolensk, well, it's not about the agility, it's certainly not about the tankiness of it, it's all about the guns. And this has 4 turrets with, I thought 3, but it's actually 4, 16. Let's find those guns again. 16 130mm guns. This is the Tier 10 Atlanta. Okay, reload time is 5 seconds, which is pretty quick for 16 guns. So that means in a 30-second period, 16 times 6 is a lot, to be fair. Over 100 rounds. Okay, then downrange in 30 seconds. Maybe, no, not quite, 96 rounds. Nearly 100 rounds. Okay, downrange in 30 seconds with those sort of reloads. The main battery HE damage is 4.31. I think I've taken the HE bonus and the chance of setting fire plus 7%, so the base will be a little bit different from this, but not too massively different. 4% with that sort of volume of fire is pretty good. Now the dispersion on this thing is incredible. I have got the dispersion mod because, as you can see, the turret traverse is 30 degrees per second, which probably makes it the fastest traversing turret in the game, so you can really see those things racing around. So this thing can switch sides really easily. Main battery AP damage 484, 431 with a 4%, nearly 5% fire chance. So basically HE against big targets, but against destroyers, well, it's accurate enough that, hey, make up your mind, really. Torpedo tubes. It does have torpedo tube, 2 sets of 5, 56-second reload time, fairly good range, so 6.24 kilometers, which I think is sort of, well, pretty good for Russian ships anyway. Average speed 62 knots, poor chance of flooding, poor damage, but basically that's still 5 torpedoes, which is fantastic for area denial. Now, if anybody's seen me play British cruisers, 1 set of torpedoes, all you need to basically channel a destroyer into a killing zone. And if with a killing zone that looks like this, yeah, good luck with that. AA, it's got pretty good AA. It's not quite, it wouldn't obviously be Worcester levels of AA. The small AA on the Worcester is incredible. But it does have reasonable AA. Yeah, well, okay. Then it has okay AA. It does have it does come with the let's just find it, with the Air Defence 2, which improves the AA. It also, while we're here, comes with 2 smoke, which is pretty good, and 2 sonar. So my best description of this is that it is a cross between the Atlanta and the Belfast taken up to tier 10. Now, that's pretty powerful. However, on the flip side, let's put a dose of reality. At tier 10, you hardly see any cruisers, which means that it's destroyers and battleships and the carrier in the game. Do I think this is overpowered? Well, I've taken it into a number of battles, and the problem with the PC Smolensk that makes it so infamous is the overpens. The overpen mechanic works a little bit different in World of Warship Blitz. This thing eats citadels like crazy, so if you get yourself exposed, expect to get wiped out. And I think the jury would be out how it would go against a cruiser, like the Stalingrad, or more particularly like the Minotaur or the Worcester, if they decided to fire HE at it. Maybe not the Worcester. Something like the Hindenburg, perhaps. This thing really does take a lot of damage. You will get clubbed. So in that respect, this is very much a dedicated destroyer hunter. And from that perspective, I really like it. Its guns are accurate, very accurate. They are a lot of them. They don't do a lot of damage per gun. But with all those landing on target at good ranges, that's really all you need. The smoke is really good from an air defense perspective, because what you can do is just before the planes get in detection radius, smoke up, sit in the smoke as they pass over with the defensive AA on and start thinning them out for your mates. The sonar, well, destroyers really don't get close enough. I've used the sonar once, and it's sort of been a sort of preventative thing where I was floating around the ocean trying to work out where the destroyer was coming from, and the only way to work out where he was trace his torpedoes back. So I flicked on the sonar in order to be able to better detect torpedoes that might be running a bit wide. So in a knife fight with a destroyer, well, in a real knife fight, the agility would probably let it down a little bit, but that fire rate, that incredible fire rate with that incredible accuracy of those destroyer murdering guns means you'll hardly ever end up there. So for those people that find tier 10 doesn't have enough cruisers, this may be the answer. Probably my one comment around it is that maybe it's time to look at buffing some of the other cruisers up, giving them a bit more of a chance to influence the battle. I don't see a lot of cruisers at tier 10, and not that I go to tier 10 very often, but I don't see a lot of cruisers there, and maybe this is just what tier 10 needs. I would absolutely say this can burn down a battleship, but if he gets a bead on you, expect it to hurt. So essentially, this is vulnerable to battleships, destroyers are vulnerable to this, and obviously battleships are vulnerable to destroyers. So let's see what time brings as these get out into the battlefield at tier 10. Anyway, that is the Smolensk. There will be a short battle after this, which I'll show it in action, hunting destroyers. And here is the battle replay. So this is a battle replay I played a little bit earlier. I've had a couple of games and discovered that battleships really finish this thing off very quickly. So there is no overpen mechanic to rely on in order to survive. You may get overpenned, but you will also get citadeled a fair amount of the time. The other thing is, obviously I'm trying to maintain this flank here with the Minotaur, and that destroyer ahead of us is a pretty proof against destroyer incursions. So what I'm trying to do here is just maintain position where I can protect our cap. There is a tendency for destroyers to come and wrap around the flanks and sneak into the cap, and if there's only a battleship or an aircraft carrier there, they really don't stand a chance. So I am trying to be a little bit careful. And here we are. Our friendly destroyer has discovered an enemy destroyer, and all I'm doing is using my concealment to lie in wait here. He will spot him, and then I'll do the job of finishing him off. There he is, coming through the gap. He's behind the island, which is pretty unfortunate. Torpedoes are out, which is, I think our guys are Yu Yang, so he's unable to really respond in kind. Well, okay then. That's pretty unfortunate, but there you go. Phenomenal dispersion. It's a pity that it was knocked down so that you couldn't see it in action, but there you go. That's what that's what the ship is capable of. We load a HE. This guy's going in reverse, is he? We get the shots out, line ourselves up. He is going in reverse. We're just going to try and whoops, we're smoked up. And we're doing that as a precautionary measure because this is long-range shooting. I'm just going to try and light some fires on him. But unfortunately, there's not a lot going on there. He's disappeared behind a rock because I certainly would have burned him pretty badly. Even though it's a Baltimore with fairly good flooding and fire resistance. Is he popping out? Nah, he knows better than that. Anyway, what this smoke has done is that it has reset my concealment, and I can go back to the job of patrolling for destroyers, because that's what I'm doing in the ship. It is a bit of home base for me. I do like knocking down destroyers. When I sort of lose my way and start thinking that I'm some sort of main combat ship, that's when I get into trouble. Here's the first of them. He's quite a distance out, but let's give it a shot. Very tight grouping there. And we get 5 of them on. This is absolutely, so he's absolutely unloaded all his torpedoes into one of our battleships. I was very much on the wrong side. And yeah, no, that's pretty unfortunate. There he goes. Is he's in the smoke, or is he gone? No. There's only one destroyer lost off the enemy team. There's a cruiser, which I'm assuming is the Baltimore that's gone down. So we're busy. Now he's hiding in smoke. I think that is the tier 9, the Yugamo, which means that that's his one shot at smoke done for the game. We're going to keep the distance open, and we're going to send some more shots down range, and I think that should just about do it. Yeah, so this thing is insane at clubbing destroyers. Now, it can burn down larger ships, but if they return fire, just be careful because you will find that it is a real challenge staying alive when under sustained battleship attack or even heavy cruiser attack because everything goes straight through to the citadel of this tiny little boat. So here we are. There is another destroyer out here. We don't know where he is. He is maintaining his concealment. And without a carrier, there's not a lot to do, to be fair, except patrol. So I'm remaining close enough to the cap that if he, for some reason, comes in the other side, and I suspect not, but there we go, we're detected. Now my concealment radius is very tight. So being detected means I've got to keep moving because I'm very close to some torpedoes, I'm sure of it. I'm no longer detected, which means that I'm going to turn around and go behind. It could be that it's... There we go, found them. That is the way that you find the destroyers. You've traced the torpedoes back to their origin. So now he would, oh, there he goes, he's made himself known. So that is a Jutland, a Tier 9 British destroyer. It has 10 seconds worth of smoke, and then it's going to suffer a lot more misery. I should probably be turning the guns, because those guns at 30 degrees per second, by the way, turn absolutely monstrously fast. Watch how quickly the rear guns come on target. There we go. Rear guns are around already. By the time I'd lined up and aimed, that's it. So, yep. More shots out. This guy might be going for us, but even if I tank him in order to make sure they don't get fully broadsided by torpedoes, there's still 8 guns, and not bad ones. As I said, it feels a little bit like the Tier 7 Atlanta taken up to Tier 10 and up-spec'd a little bit. So I suspect this is going to be quite a popular ship because the Atlanta is an awful lot of fun. So there we go. 3 destroyers on the enemy team. 3's taken down, although admittedly a bit of work done prior on them by my teammates. Okay, so one of my teammates, the Iowa, took a couple of nasty hits there from the Ugamo, and the Jutland seems to have landed quite a few in the other friendly battleship. I think that's the Yamato, but still, reasonable job of patrolling for destroyers. Yeah, and that's the ship in action. So, my view on the Smolensk is, wow. Really, seriously, that is my view on the Smolensk. Is it overpowered? Yes. Is it going to break the game? It may break the game for destroyers, but yeah, okay. They've had a pretty good run, so let's see how it pans out, shall we? Anyway, yep, 71 main battery hits, 3 kills, so a lot of patrolling and a lot of blocking rather than aggressive attacking, but trying to use it to its best advantage. Lovely looking historical camo, new ship coming out. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time, and I hope this helps you make any decisions.